Yeah, I think through Pat's leadership, I think we're continuing to close that gap and make really good progress. I do think, to your point, some of those decisions that have been made, I think, have been helpful. So I'm encouraged by the direction that we're going, but there's still work that needs to be done. Yeah, I think obviously the Big Ten has made some decisions that I think most people would agree, whether it's athletic directors or coaches, that we made decisions that we felt like we're going to put the conference in the best position to compete for national championships, and not only that, give us the best chance to get multiple teams into the playoffs. I think you have to kind of really build it and look at it from that way. And I think our conference has made some decisions to do that. Obviously, with any decision you make, there's going to be some give and take. There's going to be some things that are gained, and there's going to be some things that are lost. But I think for the most part, the benefits will outweigh those things. You talk about some of the historical games and some of the exciting games that have been played in opponents. I think for the most part, those will still happen, but there will be some times where there's different teams or a lack of a team on your schedule that you're used to playing. Yeah, I'll have a better idea, once we get into training camp, but the feedback from the players has been excellent. The interaction that we've had with them has been limited but good. And the strength staff has been impressed. We got all the numbers, all the data, whether it's 40 or bench press and things like that, to kind of see where they're at and how physically prepared they are to compete. But it's been good. We were fortunate last year to get a number of true freshmen that were able to come in and impact our team in a really positive way. Hopefully we'll have a similar number of guys that are able to do that this year as well. Hopefully there'll be some names that we're talking about in a couple weeks, or at least a halfway point through the season that we are not talking about today. I think Abdul Carter is a really good example of that, a guy that was highly recruited but probably wasn't talking a whole lot about at this media day last year, and by the middle of the season, everybody in the country was talking about him. So it should be exciting, but we're going to need some of those guys to factor into us, either in starting prominent roles or as backups. Well, first of all, it was a great opportunity to go out and spend some time, with our players. And the owner is a Penn State grad, so we were able to have a really good time last night and fellowship. As much as I tried to coach them up on that process, my man Adisa Isaac was being well-mannered and eating that shrimp with his mouth closed, and that root, really kind of opened his nostrils up, and that was the end of it. I had one shrimp, and he was done after that. But we had a great night. And but Adisa knows very well about that cocktail sauce and that horseradish now. Yeah, obviously the sooner the better, but we're not going to rush any of these decisions at any of these positions. We grade everything in every practice, so all the data will be there. Obviously you're gonna trust your gut and your instincts on those things as well, but you have the data to back it up. But I think at any of these positions, the sooner the better. It's probably magnified at the quarterback position because you don't rotate and play the same type of way that you do at some other positions. But it'll be obviously watching how they move the offense, the confidence that their teammates have in them, and then obviously a lot of the data and analytics that go in it as well to make sure that what your gut is telling you aligns with what the numbers say. Well, I think obviously the one challenge is it'll be a Friday game, so you're talking about later in the season, and you got a short week, and there's, by that point of the year, you got bumps and bruises and challenges with depth, so the Friday night game can be a little bit challenging, but at least it's a level playing field, and we're both, having to deal with that. I do think there's going to be a ton of positives when you talk about that point of the season, being able to play in this venue, I think we'll pack this place. I think our fans will travel well. I think obviously the Michigan State will travel extremely well. It's their home game. So I think it's going to be a great environment. And obviously being indoors that time of year, there's a real positive that comes from that too. So we've had great games against Michigan State. We're looking forward to that as well. But you're exactly right. There's a lot of time between now and then, which also allows us to prepare and be ready for it. Yeah, for us, it starts about Penn State and building our defense the way myself and Manny Diaz feel like it needs to be built. Offensively, same thing. Mike Yursich and myself and how our offense needs to be built from a size perspective, from a talent perspective, from a speed perspective, whatever it may be. So although you are going to factor those things in, your opponents and those types of things, more than ever, you got to focus on your program and what you need to be successful running the schemes that you do. We're obviously aware. We study best practice. We're aware of what Michigan's doing. We're aware of what Ohio State's doing. We study those programs too. But ultimately, it's about us and what Manny Diaz needs to be successful in his defense, and Mike Yursich as well.